What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
8WR. Chapter 176. Lin An plays. Advertise here. Chapter 176. Lin An plays. It is the staff of the Golden City. They threw away the used poker, and the croupier took out a new deck of cards. Just about to start the next game. Mustache suddenly shook his head. I won't play anymore. Talking. He left the poker table directly, and even left the room. To this, the others did not get angry or have other unpleasant quarrels. Businessmen of their level always have a lot of things to do. People have even left in the middle of a game before. After playing the cards, Mustache left before the second game started, which was considered pretty good. So, who of you wants to add a position? Fat Man looks around. Almost everyone shook their heads. The person they are really interested in is Lin An. I have no intention of playing cards at all. The obese man, 5'6'7", is also helpless about this. He can't grab others and force them to play, can he? His eyes scanned the surroundings. Finally, he fixed his gaze on Lin An. This little brother looks a bit unfamiliar. Look unfamiliar. Can you only see half of your face? The people in the room are the most influential people in the world. Naturally, there are people who don't want to be seen by others and put on masks on purpose. Lin An and Karina don't attract too much attention with their masks. Only, the people who can enter this room are the existences with more than 1,000 victories in the Golden City. They don't say they know each other, at least they know each other. It is even said that in order to understand possible opponents in the future, people who have won hundreds of games will be noticed in advance by them. But, whether it is the old man in this room or the rookie, or even the rookie who has won hundreds of games, there is no existence similar to Lin An. This result made the fat man's eyes show a hint of thought. Do you want to come and play? Want to play? Listen to the fat man's invitation. Lin An stood up slowly. He was not polite, and sat directly on the table. He looked at the Golden City waiter at the side. Give me 500 million Bailey chips, thank you. Those who can come to this room are those who are not short of money, and they are not short of money. It happens from time to advance chips in advance. Gilder also opened up this special right for them. Good. The waiter immediately went to the counter, and used Lin An's login identity to withdraw 500 million Bailey chips for Lin An and put them on the table. Where is the little brother from? When Lin An was seated, the fat man approached him seemingly intimately. Seemingly innocuous questions, even friendly questions and answers that are meant to get along with each other, are actually to extract information. To this, naturally, Lin An couldn't really be fooled. Glancing at the fat man, he replied in a neutral tone, Mariajoy. This answer directly made everyone in the room focus on Lin An. Mariajoy. That's where the world government is, and it's also the site of the celestial dragons. Could it be Lin An? The fat man's original guess disappeared immediately. If it is celestial dragons, it is also possible. Gilder gave the celestial dragons 2 black cards, after all. It is understandable that celestial dragons came with these 2 chapters of black cards. This can also explain why they don't know Lin An. So it came from the Holy Land. The fat man responded awkwardly. There were other questions that he held back. Although they are all powerful in the world, they can even make money from celestial dragons. But that's only because the celestial dragons don't care. If it really pissed off the celestial dragons. If the army is dispatched. Even if they can run away, the business empire they have created with great difficulty will collapse completely. At this time, no matter how doubtful and skeptical it is, they could only temporarily believe Lin An's words. What's the matter? Why is there no sound all of a sudden? At this time, someone appears beside Momosuke. It was the T-Dolphin who just hid aside to doze off. He glanced at the people on the table. When he saw Lin An, he said, "Have you changed?" However, the people at the table who could still talk and laugh with the T-Dolphin were silent now. Momosuke glanced at the T-Dolphin. She also doubts the identity of Lin An celestial dragons. However, it is absolutely impossible for a stranger who can come to this room to be a liar. The probability of celestial dragons is greatly increased. In line with the rule of doubt, Momosuke also temporarily identified Lin An as celestial dragons. T-Dolphin, say a few words. All right. Although the T-Dolphin was a little annoyed. But the people in this room are not ordinary people. In addition, it was still Momosuke who spoke to persuade. He could only find a bench beside him and sit directly next to the jumping rabbit. Momosuke intends to dissuade. There shouldn't be such people watching on the poker table. After all, in this way, it is very likely that you will have time to observe other people's cards, and if you add some means, it will be easier to make 1,000. Generally speaking, no one is allowed to do this. But, at this time, under the appearance of Lin An, others said nothing. Momosuke can only let the T-Dolphin sit next to him. In that case, let's get started. Eyes look around. The obese man saw that Lin An didn't intend to speak, and he also understood that Lin An didn't intend to control the overall situation. Then this task is still your own. After sorting out his thoughts a bit, he spoke again. The others are not ordinary people either. Although there is an urgent need for Lin An. But it was still lively. Okay, let's deal the cards. The pipe-smoking man on the side also spoke. Under the urging of other people on the table. The game starts again. First round. Lin An's whole card only gave a small 2. The first name card gave an A, the A of hearts. The fat man also got an ace, but his ace was the ace of diamonds. To this, the fat man spread his hands. It seems that our newcomer is quite lucky. The fat man looked at Lin An. The others glanced at each other. Grab some chips in your hand and throw them down. Is the whole card a 10 or a diamond 10? I thought about it for a while. Then there is no need to worry about Lin An's identity. 3.9. Let's have $1 million. P.S. Begging for an automatic subscription and a tip, as long as there is one, the author will continue to explode with 30,000 words tomorrow. From Lin An's eyes, it can be seen that it doesn't matter, and it is definitely not the kind of pretending. Lin An stretched out his hand to touch the chips beside him. It's only 1 million. It seems that your cards are not very good, little brother. If I come, since it is so easy to talk about. Little brother, you talk. There are no big names, but this round is not about to give up. Now A is impossible, but big names may disappear entirely. The possibility of a straight is not high in all poker games in the world. Chapter 177. Why is it so powerful? Chapter 177. How can it be so powerful? The pipe-smoking man also took out 1 million chips while talking. It's good to be conservative. The obese man said something and followed suit. The first round should have been conservative, but you guys were too bold. Momosuke rolled over 1 million chips. Soon, the second round of card distribution began. Everyone more or less has the meaning of speaking for Lin An or praising Lin An. This discovery made the T-Dolphin frown slightly. There was a look of surprise on Lin An's face. Of course he knew that the people in this room were not simple. But the more extraordinary a person is, the more likely he is carrying some unknown things on his body. In the eyes of law enforcement agencies like Marine, this has become a trick. Especially since he is still a candidate for the grand prize, he has already touched the inner circle of Marine. So he won't restrain himself much in this room. This time, it seems that I am bigger. Momosuke looked at the second card dealt to him, the 10 of clubs, and smiled. Looking at Lin An, perhaps, your first match will end in failure. Talking. Take out 5 million chips and throw them in the middle. In response, Lin An shrugged. It's just for fun. Finished. 24. Lin An also dropped 5 million chips into the middle. His second open card is an old K of spades. The probability of a straight shot has greatly increased, so he is not in a hurry to leave. Followed. The obese man and the pipe-smoking man followed suit one after another. Of the other 4, one folded. I'll let it go. If you call with such a small card, it will simply give you money. Talking. Then he buckled the 2 cards that were revealed. One of his 2 revealed cards is a 9 and the other is a 7. Plus it's not the same suit. It is unrealistic to want to win. Everyone. Fat man looks around. I don't know what you think of the Whitebeard Pirates. The croupier deals cards. The fat man started chatting on the side. Everyone knows what kind of business I am, and I want to expand the business to the distance of the new world. I don't know if there will be any trouble. Whitebeard Pirates still have a good reputation. The pipe-smoking man at the other end took up the topic. Whether it is Whitebeard, the legend of the older generation, or Lin An, the future helm of the Whitebeard Pirates, they are people who are reassuring. Of course, Whitebeard doesn't need to say much, it is clear what color he likes to wear with his underpants that have been touched for so many years. In Lin An's words, the continuous, hot searches, these days, and the hot searches of major events also made them spend a lot of money to inquire about the future successor of the Whitebeard Pirates. Turns out, this guy is Whitebeard's chosen successor. The style of acting is not exactly the same as that of Whitebeard, and it is almost the same. If you want to enter the new world to do business, you should consider not the Whitebeard Pirates, but Marine. After all, the Whitebeard Pirates are now the masters of the new world, and the Whitebeard Pirates just started slapped Marine in the face. Talking. The pipe-smoking man looked in Momosuke's direction. Makes sense. The fat man shrugged helplessly. The summit war of the Whitebeard Pirates, and although they played beautifully. But it can be regarded as a complete stalemate with Marine. Even if it is said that the matter is that the Marine side first picks the matter. But who makes Marine stronger? The most they could do was laugh behind their backs. Thinking of this, the obese man also looked at Momosuke. He asked slightly jokingly. Momosuke Vice Admiral, if I go to New World to trade with the Whitebeard Pirates, what will happen? Momosuke glanced at Lin An. She didn't want to deal with this question at first. After all, even if the fat man really did it, if a person of his level wants to execute, it needs a Marine high-level meeting to decide. Although he is a candidate for the grand prize, he has no right to ask. But, now Lin An, the suspected celestial dragons, is here. She had to open her mouth to give an answer. What awaits you is the death penalty. Momosuke looked at the fat man and gave his answer. Of course, with your power, death is not your turn. It's just that your business empire will also disappear completely. The obese man was not surprised by this answer. Momosuke looked at Lin An at this time. Newcomer, what do you think of this matter? Obviously. Momosuke wanted to take the opportunity to test Lin An's tone. In order to confirm the specific identity of Lin An again. But, how could Lin An be fooled? At this time, the fourth round of cards has been dealt. It seems that my cards are not bad. Looking at the cards in his hand, Lin An smiled slightly. The cards above are of hearts, K of diamonds, and Q of hearts. Plus his whole card 10 of diamonds. It's not impossible to get a straight. It's really good. Momosuke sees the cliché to no avail. At this time, he could only nod in agreement. At this time, the obese man said half-jokingly, Newcomer, you can't really be a shunzi. Certainly. Lin An didn't deny it either. Directly agreed. If it's not a straight, it looks like a good card, and it's actually a card that can be discarded at any time. Makes sense. The pipe-smoking man beside him nodded. At this time, there are 3 kings on his board. This round he is the biggest. The pipe-smoking man looked at Lin An and pointed to his cards. However, if it's not a straight, then you can only lose miserably. Talking. 180. The pipe-smoking man took out 20 million chips and threw them into the central chip pool, 20 million. At this point, it was already the penultimate round. The chips will naturally increase gradually. The biggest or most likely biggest cards on the board today are Lin An's suspected straight and the pipe man's 3 kings. Quickly, everyone else has made their own choices too. The fat man followed again. Momosuke and the other 3 directly buckled the cards at this time. Completely abstain. Fatty. The pipe-smoking man looked at the fat man. There was a look of doubt on his face. The fat man's cards are not neat. If there is anything special, it is a club flush. But, the plum blossom cards have already been taken away by others, and the probability of Fat Yong's flush is not very high. You don't really intend to send money to my door, do you? Hey, how about an old saying? The fat man responded indifferently. By the way, I remembered. Will you avoid disaster if you lose money? You miser have the nerve to say such a thing. Regarding the fat man's words, the pipe-smoking man directly refuted. The whole face is full of ridicule towards the fat man. Chapter 178. T. Dolphin's Jealousy. Advertise here. Chapter 178. T. Dolphin's Jealousy. Facing the pipe-smoking man's ridicule, the fat man shrugged indifferently. Just as the pipe-smoking man described. He is indeed a miser, but he is only a miser. As long as he doesn't steal his money, everything else is fine. The obese man looked in the direction of the dealer. Then, let's deal the last round of cards. The dealer nodded. Start dealing cards directly. In the last round, Lin An got the 10 he wanted. See here. Momosuke couldn't help but said, it seems that it is obviously impossible to let the rookie lose in the first round. The obese man and the pipe-smoking man also had similar expressions at this time. What happened? See here. The T-Dolphin on the side showed a surprised look on his face. Although he doesn't quite understand the meaning of the game. But, he can also see what it is like to appear now. It seems that Lin An doesn't talk much, but the other players in the game are more or less trying to get along with Lin An. Even Momosuke is like that. His eyes looked in Lin An's direction. The T-Dolphin was slightly confused. Let me talk. The obese man got a 7 at this time. Not 7 of clubs, though. It is obviously impossible to be bigger than Lin An. I fold. Talking. The obese man directly buckled the cards in his hand. There is no possibility of a flush. His cards would have no hope of winning. Then, is it just me and the newcomer to PK? The pipe-smoking man took out the pipe in his mouth. He exhaled a puff of smoke, and the smoke formed a circle in midair. The pipe-smoking man has 3K and AQ in his hand, which are his clear cards. No one knows the bottom card. It is unclear whether Lin An's card is a straight. However, even if it is a straight, he still has a chance to win. That is a full house consisting of 3 of a kind and a pair. Think for a while. The pipe-smoking man took out 50 million chips from the side and threw them on the chip pile. 50 million. 50 million. Lin An smiled slightly. Reach your hand directly towards the table. Throw all the chips in front of you into the stack in one go. Stud. 500 million Pele backquote. Stud. For a while. The 7 players on the poker table and the T-Dolphin were all dumbfounded. The pipe-smoking man was even more surprised. Newcomer, you have to know that even if you were really straight, I still have gourds to win. Q is a card that appears on my side, 1 on your side, and 2 cards in the pile. I still have a good chance of winning. To this. Lin An smiled slightly, not intending to explain. Just say whether you follow or not. Proud. Looking at Lin An. The pipe-smoking man gave him a thumbs up. Of course I have to follow. My chances of winning are greater than yours. Followed. Afterwards, under the confirmation of the service staff next to him, the staff selected the equal chips with Lin and Stud and put them into the stack of chips. Wait until the chips are over. The pipe-smoking man looked at Lin An. Rookie, can you open the cards now? Certainly. Lin An responded. Opened the cards directly. Sure enough, it was a 10. Why? The pipe-smoking man sighed. Opened the cards. It is actually a small 2, it is really hard to imagine. How did the pipe-smoking man persist until now? I lost a hand. Sighed. The pipe-smoking man spread his hands. The newcomer is lucky, and his gambling skills are also very good. He actually 500 million won Baileys from me in one fell swoop. The waiter who was waiting at the side immediately started to clear the cards on the table, and helped Lin An organize the chips on the table. It's only 500 million Pele. At this time, the fat man spoke again. At this time, his eyes turned into crescent moons. While the waiters were clearing the chips and clearing the tables, the obese man looked at the pipe-smoking man mockingly. For you, isn't it just 1 thing out of 9? That's different. The pipe-smoking man waved his hand indifferently. Losing is the feeling of losing. His eyes shifted, and the pipe-smoking man looked at Lin An. Newcomer, you are hiding something deep. At this time, other people on the poker table also spoke one after another. Although not deliberately touting, but intentional or unintentional appreciation can still be heard. You are welcome. After Lin An was polite, Momosuke also spoke at this time. We are talking about strength here. If you have this strength, you should be appreciated by us. Listen to Momosuke. The T-Dolphin on the side was almost dumbfounded. He had never seen Momosuke like this. For a while. His eyes looked in Lin An's direction. In his opinion, there is only one possibility for a girl to appreciate it. That is the love between men and women. Momosuke is not a gold digger. After all, she herself is very rich by virtue of her superb gambling skills. In addition, the people I meet on weekdays are all high-level business people. If she worshipped money, she would have been a wealthy wife long ago. But, the T-Dolphin looked in Lin An's direction. It's not hard to see from Lin An's squad leader's face. Lin An is not very old. Looks like he's in his 20s at most. Could it be that? Did Momosuke fall in love with Lin An's young and rich gambling skills? Probably. The T-Dolphin immediately became vigilant and jealous in his heart. Love between men and women is limited. There are necessary prerequisites for mutual attraction. That's like-minded hobbies. Youthful and handsome, beautiful. It is not difficult to see from the hazy mask that even if Lin An is not handsome, he is definitely not ugly. Coupled with a lot of gold, the same hobbies as Momosuke, and even a gambling skill that Momosuke praised. Probably. For a while, there was a look of jealousy in the T-Dolphin's eyes. The look in Lin An's eyes also became unfriendly. No, I have to find a chance to kill his spirit. Otherwise, Momosuke would have been taken. Single quote. Okay, it's the second round. Quote. At this time, start again at the table. The cards for the second round have been dealt. Lin An glanced at the whole cards. That's right. At this point he used his ability again. Momosuke was also a little helpless at this time. Originally, I was the one who won every time. It seems that the result may change this time. He used the ability of sparkling fruit. Lin An's first card is also an ace. Others are much more unlucky. Soon, the golden light in his eyes disappeared. And it's been used since the very beginning. Wang Des how otherwise, he wouldn't be so sure that the pipe-smoking man would lose to him directly. And his whole card, this time is an A, the A of spades. He has already seen through the cards of the others. P.S. Begging for an automatic subscription and a tip, as long as there is one, the author will continue to explode with 30,000 words tomorrow. The biggest one is the Queen of Hearts in the hands of Momosuke. The second round, that is, the first round of open cards has also been dealt. Box A. Looking at Lin An, Fat Lee spoke again. Looks like I'm the one talking this time. Shouldn't it be said that newcomers are protected by the system, and have better luck? Chapter 179 Annoyed Mustache. Advertise here. Chapter 179 The Fidgety Mustache. Okay, it's such a happy decision. And just when the two of them finished speaking, Momosuke's second round had already begun. Lin An looked at them holding the cards in their hands and didn't feel much. He didn't know who it would be in the second round. Speaking of the first round, it was obvious that the fat man was able to win this round. His luck. But the second round might not be so lucky. The fat man seemed to think that he could still win this round, but he was full of complacency. Lin An looked at him tightly holding the cards in his hand, and the smile on his face 007 had already told Lin An that this card should be good for him. Lin An was thinking that luck would be so good, this fat man will definitely not win this game. Looking at the other people, Momosuke was indeed very stable, and he looked at the cards in his hand calmly, and then put them on the table. Looking at his calm expression, Lin An knew that it seemed that Momosuke didn't like this round. In which round did he want to win this round? What are you doing? Why are you in a hurry? This is just the beginning, can't you hold back already? Is he going to win this game again? Or is he proud of the last game? Now Karina can't see any way about these things at all. The man next to him with a pipe in his mouth looked at the impatience of the mustache, but comforted him from the sidelines. After Karina heard what Lin An said, he quickly took a look, and the fat man was indeed looking at him with a smug look on his face. At this moment, Mustache threw his cards directly on the table. Brother, do you want to calm down? What are you doing? With such a fall, don't everyone already know what cards you have? Lin An just wanted to wait silently for the final result at this time, and this round didn't mean anything. Even if Momoshiki didn't win this round, Lin An still had great hopes for him. It's hard to say now, but you can tell something by looking at the expressions of these people. You see the fat man smiling all over his face. Could it be that he has a good hand? And the man next to him with a pipe in his mouth smiled coldly when he saw the mustache. This guy is really not suitable for playing these things. His personality is a bit impatient. When he sees that his cards are not good, he is already irritable and can't sit still. You mean he has a good hand, so he's very happy now, right? I can't see anything, just wait for the final outcome. What is this? How can there be such a bad card? But Lin An is very confident about Momoshiki. Although looking at him now, Sika, he may not be able to win this round, but Lin An can see the final outcome. Regarding what Karina said to him just now, Lin An just smiled slightly and didn't say anything. Lin An just wanted to keep a low profile, he didn't want Karina to see his thoughts. What? Lin An, aren't you nervous at all? Do you think Momoshiki is likely to win this game? Karina did not observe these people at this time, but looked at Lin An instead. At this time, Lin An could tell that the mustache seemed a little impatient, and it seemed that his hand was really bad. Chapter 180 Karina's Choice. Advertise here. Chapter 180 Karina's Choice. Hearing what these two people said, Mustache also felt that his attitude just now was indeed a little too aggressive. He quickly sat there again and picked up the cards on the table again. Still muttering from time to time. Today is really unlucky, 2 consecutive hands are such broken cards. Listening to what these people said, Momoshiki didn't pay attention to them, and even felt that these people were a little ridiculous. In this situation, they still said these words, which is not revealing their own cards. Lin An looked at Momoshiki's calm look, and was secretly happy. He knew that Momoshiki might win this round. What was unexpected was that the moment they all showed their whole cards, Lin An could see clearly that this fat man was really lucky, and he actually won the second round. At this time, Karina also showed a smug smile on her face. It seemed that he was really right to choose this fat man. How about it, Lin An, look at this, the fat man has won again. For this round, Lin An was obese, and the man won because he really felt that this guy was really lucky. Now the second game is over, it's time for you to make a choice. There is still one person to choose. Karina didn't want to choose anyone anymore at this time. In his opinion, this fat man must have won the whole game today. In Lin An's current situation, do I still need to choose? I don't think I should choose anymore. Lin An listened to Karina's words and laughed out loud. Hee hee. Karina looked at Lin An. What? Can you think of anything else now? Lin An knew that this round didn't mean anything, even if this fat man won 2 rounds in a row, he wouldn't be the final winner today. You seem to think that the fat man must have won, but we have different opinions. I still think that Momoshiki has a certain strength. Karina really couldn't see it. Now the fat man has won 2 games in a row, but Lin An still believes that Momoshiki will win the whole game today. And I also think that Momoshiki is very powerful. Why is this? What can he see clearly in the middle? Everything Lin An does really makes Karina unable to understand. But he didn't want to be so tired. Since Lin An thought so, let him think about it. Anyway, he felt that he must have won today. Asking for flowers. Well, since it's like this, let's see the ending separately. Mustache really couldn't hold back anymore. He had already lost his card just now, and now seeing that fat man won again, this guy couldn't sit still anymore. 0-0. Why did you beat the fat man again? You're not doing anything wrong, are you? The fat man said with a grin. Everyone is playing here fairly. What the hell will I do? This is a matter of strength. How dare I talk about what the hell is going on here? Momoshiki also felt a little angry when he heard what the mustache said. When he slammed the cards just now, Momoshiki couldn't stand it anymore. Seeing that the fat man won again, he said such things here again. Can you guys play it? If you can't play it, don't play it. When Momoshiki said that, Mustache felt blushed and didn't dare to say anything, but just sat there. The man with the pipe in his mouth looked at the embarrassing situation, but he wanted to avoid embarrassing everyone. Chapter 181. Attracting Lin An's attention. Advertise here. Chapter 181 gets Lin An's attention. Oh, what do you think you are doing? We are all having fun here, this is just the beginning, why are you so unhappy? Everyone be happy, we just want to be happy, you see Momoshiki Vice Admiral is so beautiful, and you can continue to play happily with us here, don't you think it's an honor? I, 077, really feel very honored in my heart, and what I said just now, don't forget that I want to marry Momoshiki as my daughter-in-law. But when Momoshiki heard him say these words, she felt a little dissatisfied in her heart. After all, there are so many people here now, and this guy actually provoked her so much. He said these words before, he was not as knowledgeable as him, but at this critical moment, this man with a pipe in his mouth actually said these words again. Momosuke really felt that she was a little embarrassed, and there were so many people here, how could she continue to hang out here in the future? It seems that she really can't do without teaching him a lesson. Are you kidding me? Stop talking nonsense and don't talk about being your daughter-in-law. I think you should think about whether you have this life. The man with a pipe in his mouth was stunned when he heard Momosuke say these words. He didn't expect this Momosuke to be so aggressive. The fat man hurried over when he saw Momosuke like this. 4.0. I thought it was just a joke with him, but I didn't expect that this guy couldn't stand any jokes, and instead seemed to lose his temper here. Momosuke glanced at the fat man. When Momosuke finished speaking these words, the girl next to the man pushed with her hand, and the man beside him. Is that so? Look at what you all said. Didn't you say you wanted to come here to play today? Why are you making a joke here? Momosuke pushed the cards in front of him with his hand, and stood up immediately. Not interested anymore. Momosuke really planned to have a good time here, but was turned off by the two men in front of him. What's the matter with you men? Are you sitting here today to have fun, or are you here to joke around? Momosuke Vice Admiral, don't be angry, it was just a joke, I apologize here. It was a good round just now, it became like this before it happened. And the man sitting next to the man with a pipe in his mouth laughed when he heard what Momosuke and the man beside him said. Forget it, stop playing, it's really boring. Ha ha ha, it's no wonder you fell in love with Momosuke Vice Admiral, this Momosuke Vice Admiral is indeed too beautiful, no man will not be tempted by him. The man with the pipe in his mouth felt a little uneasy in his heart when he felt that his words had affected the whole game. Momosuke could tell that the man with the pipe in his mouth reacted relatively quickly, and immediately apologized to himself, which made him less embarrassed. What's the matter? Didn't you want to have a good time just now? Momosuke looked at the man who was talking and there was a beautiful girl sitting next to him, and this guy was talking nonsense here, it really made Momosuke a little upset. Chapter 182, Showing Off His Might. Advertise here. Chapter 182 The Appearance of Showing Off. And he didn't want to offend the Momosuke in front of him. In fact, he was just joking, but he didn't expect to cause so many things. Come on, Momosuke Vice Admiral. You see, what I said just now made you unhappy, so I'll apologize to you again, okay? Lin An and Karina have just walked in, and both Lin An and Karina have heard their conversation very clearly. But what they didn't expect was that when they came in, they heard their dispute. 24 Just now, Momosuke's move to push the cards in front of him immediately caught Lin An's attention. At this moment, Lin An and Karina glanced at each other, and then they stood there. And just as the two of them paused here, Momosuke also looked at Lin An. The obese man didn't want anything to happen to them in this situation. Originally, he thought that this would be a very harmonious situation, but if it goes on like this, then don't fight. You guys just sit here and play if you want to play, don't talk about useless nonsense. Momosuke really couldn't stand their irony, he was so angry that he was held down by the fat electrician just as he was about to stand up. Yeah, Momosuke is just a joke, can't you stand up to these jokes? Momosuke 290 Vice Admiral, don't be as knowledgeable as this guy may have had a drink, you just sit here and don't move. What I said just now was indeed a lesson. The man with the pipe in his mouth and the man next to him, now Momosuke thought that he should be more magnanimous, so he just sat there again after thinking about it. Don't make trouble here, or you will be in big trouble. But the man next to him is different, he may be thinking of showing off because he has a woman by his side. The man was stunned when he heard what the fat man said. He wanted to pretend to be here, but he didn't expect to be warned continuously. When the man finished speaking, the girl next to him looked at Momosuke with an ironic smile. I really can't stand any jokes. This brother is just joking with you. You shouldn't be so angry. It's just a joke, why should I care too much about it, and if he cares too much, it really seems that he is very stingy. The fat man quickly walked to the man's side and whispered in his ear. It was originally a game, but it broke up before it even started, which really made Dao Fang feel a little pity. He felt that what the fat man said just now was also correct. The man with the pipe in his mouth, what he said just now was indeed a joke with Momosuke. Now that he saw Momosuke, he was so concerned about what he said just now, so he didn't say any more at this time. Isn't the woman in front of him a vice admiral? What's the big deal? He feels that he is also a person of status, so there is no need to be frightened by this woman. But at this time, she didn't know who the person in front of her was, and now she was still angry about what happened just now. The fat man looked at the man who was smoking a pipe just now and kept apologizing to Momosuke, so he quickly said with a smile. Chapter 183 Angry Momosuke. Advertise here. Chapter 183 Angry Momosuke. What are you talking about? You said that I caused trouble. What's the big deal? Everyone came out to have fun. Wouldn't it be better to be happy? You can't even stand up to a joke and come out to play. Originally, Momosuke thought that he could give the fat man some face and let him deal with it, but he didn't expect that the man on the opposite side was shameless, and started yelling here. Momosuke couldn't help it, he couldn't bear it anymore, he just stood up and threw the table away. Who gave you the guts to show off your power here? I think if I didn't give you some strength today, I'll see if it really won't work. Lin An was at the side, but watching all this, he never expected that when he came here for the first scene, he would be surprised to see the woman in front of him in this scene. It seems that there is a lot of excitement today, but Lin An wants to see what happens, and see how Momosuke continues to fight with this man in the end. But how could Momosuke be frightened by him like this? She came to this man again in 3 steps and 2 steps. The man really didn't expect Momosuke to come directly in front of him and grab his collar. The strength of this man is indeed great. He pulled Momosuke's hand aside with a strong pull. He quickly dragged the girl next to him to his front and used this girl to block himself. And he himself was so frightened that he quickly stepped back a few steps, feeling very timid in his heart. And the man looked at Momosuke and was not afraid, but came to him again and wanted to do something. When he saw Momosuke coming from here, he quickly dodged to the side, and he knew in his heart that if Momosuke hadn't vented, he would not be able to swallow this breath. When the fat man finished speaking, he quickly stepped aside, and at this time Momosuke had already come in front of the man. The obese man who had been persuading in the middle saw that Momosuke lost his temper and came over from him. He knew that this matter was really a big deal, and Momosuke was not a fuel-efficient lamp. He dragged the girl aside. You go away. The man was so frightened that he said to Momosuke tremblingly. Momosuke can't think so much now. The reason why he was thrown away just now is because the previous action was really just to scare him, but the way this man is doing now really makes Momosuke unbearable. What are you going to do? Do you want to beat someone? Let me tell you, I don't have the same knowledge as you, so let me go quickly. It really caused a lot of trouble to offend her. Originally, I had persuaded the man just now, but this man didn't appreciate it at all. The girl was really scared by the scene just now. She didn't expect that the man beside her would use herself to block Momosuke. Momosuke looked at this guy's behavior and it was a bit shameful, even using the woman beside him to cover himself. Li Hao. Instead, he's talking nonsense here and now. Let's see how he ends up. The fat man also knows that he can't hold back this matter, so let Momosuke teach him a good lesson. Brother, it's not that I didn't help you, but I persuaded you. It's because you didn't listen this time, but I can't help it this time. Chapter 184. Not a simple woman. Advertise here. Chapter 184. A not simple woman. Lin An watched all this from the side, and really found it more and more interesting. This man is really good, and he used the girl beside him to block Momosuke's attack on him. But what Momosuke did really made Lin An feel quite admirable. Instead of doing anything to the girl, she dragged the girl aside. At this time, Momosuke was also very annoyed. He stepped forward and punched the man directly on the head. The man really didn't have time to dodge. He was dizzy from Momosuke's punch all of a sudden. He rubbed his head with his hands, then pointed to Momosuke 030 and said. You woman actually did something. It seems that I really can't give you some strength. Lin An looked at that Momosuke's unhurried look, and he knew that this Momosuke was not a vegetarian. He must have some tricks, otherwise, why would he fight a man? And at this time, the fat man also showed a smile on his face. It seemed that he had already expected all this. No wonder he told that man before that he was going to cause big trouble today. Karina looked at Lin An. He felt that Lin An seemed to be able to see the end of this matter, but at this time Lin An was still calm. Lin An, don't you want to help? This is a good time for a hero to save the beauty. Lin An looked at Karina and said with a smile. Can't you see that this woman is not simple? Karina really didn't see it in this matter, but he thought that Lin An would definitely help at this time, but he didn't expect Lin An to say such a thing. What you did today really surprised me. Do you think this woman can deal with this man? Yes. That punch just now has proved everything. This man is not his opponent. Karina understood now. No wonder she had already made a plan in her heart, siege, when she saw Lin An there calmly. At this time, when the man finished speaking, he hit Momosuke. Seeing that the man was still struggling here, Momosuke stepped forward and grabbed the man's arm, and with a swipe backward, his arm was pushed back. The man screamed in pain. Oh, let me go quickly. He never thought that Momosuke's speed was really fast enough. He just wanted to make a move, but Dao Fang immediately subdued him. When Lin An saw all this, she actually laughed. This woman is really not simple. What did I say, Karina, just now? Did this woman's action surprise you? When Karina saw this action, she was really surprised. Lin An, you are right. This woman is really not simple. I underestimated her. I thought I would give you a chance to be a hero to save the beauty, but he didn't give us a chance at all. Just when the two of them finished talking, the fat man also came to Momosuke, and he was sweating profusely watching the man in pain. Momosuke Vice Admiral, this is almost the end. Let go. You can see that he is already sweating profusely from the pain. Momosuke also saw that the man was in so much pain that he didn't dare to struggle anymore. Chapter 185. Lin An has a different view. Advertise here. Chapter 185. Lin An has a different view. But Momosuke is thinking that he has to teach him some lessons, and pay a certain price for what he just said. Is such a little pain unbearable? Where did the vigor just now go? Don't you still want to teach me a lesson? Why is this little ability? That man is in so much pain that he can't struggle anymore. He apologized immediately when he heard Momosugi say that. Heroine, please forgive me. When the fat man heard his words, he also felt a little ridiculous, so he hurried forward to remind him. What heroine? This is Momosugi Vice Admiral, don't you hear us call her that all the time? The man didn't dare to refute what the fat man said. Momosugi Vice Admiral, please let go, if you don't let go, my arm will be useless. Momosugi saw the man's appearance, and thought it was ridiculous, and he didn't want to know him anymore. He believed that this guy had already learned his lesson, and he didn't dare to say those unreasonable things to himself anymore. He immediately let go of his hand and took the man directly. He had no strength and sat down on the ground directly, covering his arm with his hand. The man with the cigarette in his mouth saw all that happened just now, and he was really frightened into a cold sweat. I didn't expect the young and beautiful woman in front of me to be so powerful. Fortunately, I just made a joke just now. And he also apologized in time, otherwise he would be the one who was injured. He is really glad that he didn't say anything just now. But the Momosugi in front of him made him even more interested. Before, he just thought he was a bit aggressive, but he didn't expect that this woman is not only beautiful, but also so powerful. The reason why I said those words just now is because I want everyone not to be too cautious here, but I didn't expect to cause such a big thing. But in the current situation, he doesn't dare to say anything anymore, he can only stay silent here, don't speak first, so that he can make himself safer. Lin An and Karina, the two of them watched all of this from the sidelines, and really thought that these people were really interesting, and they were able to play cards directly here. Asking for flowers. Karina looked at Lin An at this time, thinking in her heart that she was very likely to win just now, but now after their turmoil, it seems that this game cannot continue. What will Lin An do now? The bet between the two of us seems to be gone. 0. Lin An thought the same way. Originally, he thought that he would definitely win today, but he didn't expect to be able to fight in this situation. However, this Momosugi really made Lin An have a different opinion. The bet is definitely gone, but this woman has made me particularly interested. I really didn't expect him to surprise me so much. Karina looked at Lin An and didn't feel sorry for the bet between the two of them. Instead, she felt that Momosugi in front of her was very interested. What happened to this guy? Did you really fall in love with this Momosugi? But the appearance of Momosugi just now really surprised Karina, no wonder Lin An is interested in him, even Karina thinks she likes her very much. Chapter 186, Spectators. Advertise here. Chapter 186 Spectators. This woman is indeed very attractive. I just said that you are interested in him. I didn't admit it before, but now I'm revealing. When Lin An heard what Karina said, she felt that what she said just now was a bit wrong. Ha ha ha, Karina, what are you talking about? I didn't say anything, I just said something in your heart. What about? 580 is in my heart, so don't talk about it here. I didn't talk nonsense, you just said it yourself. Lin An only felt the words that he blurted out just now, but it doesn't matter anymore, since he has already said it, what is there to admit? He is indeed very interested in this woman. Oh, you women really like to think wildly. Karina is not in the mood to discuss this woman with Lin An at the moment, but she is still thinking about the bet just now. I won't talk about this woman with you anymore, but I want to know if the bet between the two of us is over here. How could Lin An continue seeing the situation in front of him? Unless they can sit there peacefully now and continue playing again, but looking at this situation, it is simply impossible. That man was already beaten by Momosugi, and his whole arm seems to be unable to move. In this case, he must want to escape from here, and it is impossible to stay and continue playing. It depends on the situation. The bet between the two of us really has nothing to do with this injured man, but whether they can continue to play, we don't know yet. Karina felt that the man's injury had nothing to do with him. After all, the person he chose was the fat man, and the man with the pipe in his mouth. As long as these two people don't leave here, it's fine. I think that even if the injured man leaves here, it won't affect our bet. After all, he is not the person chosen by the two of us. As long as the people chosen by the two of us stay here, then our bet should be okay. Continuous. Lin An does know that if Karina said so, then maybe their bet can continue. But considering the current situation, he doesn't know whether these people will continue. Looking at the current situation has seriously affected their mood. Will Momosugi really continue to play with them? But there is a possibility. After all, their main purpose of coming here was to play for a while, but they were disturbed by the injured man just at the beginning. In the current situation, I really don't know whether they can continue. Lin An also wants to know more about it. Then why don't we just wait here? When Karina heard what Lin An said, he laughed to himself. Lin An didn't understand his expression, and wondered what Karina was thinking. What are you laughing at? I was thinking that the two of us seem to be here to watch the excitement. When Lin An heard this, he laughed too. Looking at the smile on Lin An's face, Momosugi knew what was going on in his heart. Do you feel the same way? Chapter 187 Not easy to bully. Advertise here. Chapter 187 is not easy to bully. Lin An asked Karina, as if he couldn't say anything, but he felt that what Karina just said was really reasonable. Both of them have been here for so long, watching the movement of Momosegi's table. It seemed like watching a show here, but the scene just now really made Lin An feel a little ridiculous. The man couldn't even beat a woman, and he was still pretending. Lin An really felt ashamed for him, but now Lin An saw that the man really couldn't stay here any longer. Momosegi directly let go of the man between the man and felt a little hard to stand up from the ground. At this time, when the girl saw this situation, she hurried forward and gave the man up. I only heard the man say, "Let's go." After speaking, he turned around and took the girl with him and left here. Momosegi watched from the side and did not chase after him. He hoped that this man would disappear before his eyes quickly, but he was a little bit aggrieved for that girl. Just now he wanted to use this girl's body to block Momosegi's punch, but this girl actually helped him and left like this, which really made Momosegi unable to understand. This woman should stay away from him as soon as possible, and she will get hurt sooner or later when she is with this kind of person. Thinking about these things, Momosegi suddenly felt that thinking about these things was a bit superfluous. She hadn't figured out her own affairs yet, and she was still feeling sorry for others. When I saw the fat man, he came to Momosegi with a courteous face. "Peach, are you okay?" "It's okay. What can I do? Don't you know me yet?" The obese man really knows Momosegi too well, otherwise he wouldn't have reminded the male partner who was injured just now. But his reminder didn't seem to have any effect at all, instead it made the man even more presumptuous. "I know you too well, otherwise, how could I remind that guy not to cause trouble, but this guy is disobedient." At this time, the man with a pipe in his mouth also came over to Momosegi, and he really felt a little distressed seeing Momosegi's current appearance. "I'm really sorry for what happened just now. I originally wanted to make a joke to alleviate the embarrassing situation, but I didn't expect to cause so many things." Xiaoban didn't blame the man with the pipe in his mouth, he just felt that the man who was injured just now was too unreasonable, otherwise he wouldn't have done it. "How could it be? I can't blame you for this matter, I just hope that the man just now was too arrogant. Don't let him suffer. He doesn't know how powerful we are, and thinks we are easy to bully." Listening to what Momosegi said 240, Lin An actually laughed out loud. Seeing Lin An like this, Karina hurriedly said to Lin An. "What are you doing? Keep your voice down, don't let people hear it. It would be embarrassing if they heard it." Lin An knew that it was impolite to laugh like this, but what they said just now really made Lin An unbearable. Just now he actually said that he is not easy to bully, but what this guy said is also right, he is really a person that others can't bully. Karina didn't think it was ridiculous, but felt that Lin An was a bit abnormal after seeing Momosegi today. Chapter 188 Don't know how to say it. Advertise here. Chapter 188 I don't know how to say it. It seems that what this woman did today really attracted Lin An, otherwise Lin An would not be what she is now. At this time, Karina was really jealous, and he also thought that Lin An had just come here, and Lin An was actually interested in this Momosegi. But what this Momosegi did really attracted Karina and the others. Just as they were thinking about these things, the fat man suddenly walked towards Lin An, and when Lin An came over, he was also stunned when he saw him. Could it be because of his laughter just now that he caught their attention? Lin An didn't want this to be so embarrassing. "Karina can't. Did I laugh so loudly just now? Why is this fat man walking towards us?" When Karina heard Lin An say this, he smiled and wondered in his heart if it was really because of Lin An's laughter that they noticed them here. But this is nothing, just a smile, and they are so far away, how could they hear it? "No way, is your laughter that loud? I didn't pay attention, he couldn't be coming for us." Lin An can tell that this fat man hangs around here a lot, otherwise how would he know Lin An? But at this moment, the fat man had already come to Lin An, he looked at Lin An with a smile and said. Lin An always thought that he would not attract anyone's attention here, but he never thought that the fat man would recognize him. At this time, Momosegi on the other side saw that the man had left here with the woman. At this time, his mood suddenly disappeared. He could have had a good time. "Of course, if I don't know you, how could I come to you directly? Besides, how can someone not recognize your famous Lin An? I believe everyone present will recognize you Yan. Why? Now that he came here to make sarcastic remarks, is he the god of plague? That guy will hide away when he sees him. Momosegi Vice Admiral, I think you should stop thinking about what happened just now. There is nothing to think about these things. After all, what kind of people come here, we have no way of controlling it." Quote. "Why do you really know me? I really didn't expect you to come here. We are destined to meet here today, why don't we just play together for a while? And you are so powerful, I believe that guy, when I see you next time, I will definitely hide away. Why?" The man with the pipe in his mouth really didn't mean anything like that, he just didn't know how to say it. "What do you mean by that? What do you think I am? Do people hide away when they see me?" Momosegi was already in a bad mood, and what happened this time was all caused by the man in front of him with a pipe in his mouth. It was nothing wrong with it. The fat man said with a smile all over his face. This good guy actually said those provocative words in order to relieve the embarrassment, and these things happened because of him. But he didn't expect to encounter such a thing, but it was okay at this time, the man with the pipe hanging was comforting him all the time. Lin An also didn't think it was that exaggerated, he just laughed out loud, how could he attract their attention? It's impossible. Chapter 189 See how capable Lin An is. Advertise here. Chapter 189 See how capable Lin An is. I originally wanted to make Momosuke happy, but I didn't expect to make Momosuke misunderstand again. It seems that I really can't say more this time. The gain outweighs the loss. No matter how many people tried to catch him, they failed, but Momosuke didn't want to catch this person, he was just curious about everything about Lin An. But Lin An felt that what Karina said was reasonable, and it was really useless to come here to talk about any characters, it was really a bunch of nonsense. Lin An, you may have forgotten what you are here for. Are we here to talk to them about these things? When he thought of this, he walked directly in the direction of Lin An and the fat man. He believes that the person who was talking to the fat man, CEFJ, must be Lin An, and he wants to have a good contact with this Lin An to see how capable he is. At this time, Karina watched Momosuke slowly walking towards them, which made Karina feel a little interested. This woman just beat that man over there, and now she wants to come here again. I don't know, did he come here for Lin An, or because of that fat man? The man with the pipe in his mouth really felt that he talked too much today, and he felt that what he said was wrong. At this time, he didn't want to please Momosuke anymore, because the woman in front of him was someone he couldn't conquer. And Momosuke listened to what the man with a pipe said at this time, and later noticed that he was obese. The man and Lin An were talking, and he was very curious about the Lin An next to the obese man. When Lin An came in here, he had already noticed him, but he felt that this face was indeed a bit unfamiliar. He had heard the fat man say that he was coming today. Don't worry, don't think like this, okay. I think I really can't talk anymore today. I don't know why every word makes you unhappy. I think I'd better shut up. Karina, since you don't want to talk about this, then you tell me what we should do. Lin An was stunned when he heard what Karina said. He hasn't seen Momosuke walking in their direction yet, and he doesn't know what Karina means. Karina usually speaks very docilely. What is it today? Karina is not willing to let this Dao Fang get close to Lin An, but now in such a public place, he has no choice, at this time he can only get closer to Lin An. Karina was thinking about what she could do here. Just do what Momosuke and the others did just now, but instead of fighting, they played cards. When he walked up to Lin An, listening to what Lin An and the fat man said, Karina hurried forward and continued. What characters are not characters? You are all talking nonsense here. If you want to chat when you come here, I don't think it is necessary. Lin An laughed when he heard what Karina said. At this moment, Momosuke had already come to them. Could it be that he thinks that he can say something to anyone? It may be that this fat man is naturally out of tune, which makes Karina feel that these words are very suitable for him. Chapter 190. Invite Lin An into the game. Advertise here. Chapter 190. Inviting Lin An to enter. Momosuke's temperament is really straightforward. When he saw Lin An and Karina talking, he said it directly to Lin An. You are the fifth emperor of the sea. Momosuke asked Lin An directly like this. Lin An and Karina were both a little surprised by what she said. Even the obese man who was talking on the side was stunned by what Momosuke said. The fat man also didn't expect Momosuke to ask this question so straightforwardly. Indeed, he had mentioned it to Momosuke before, but he also knew that Momosuke had never met Lin An. And Lin An didn't know there was such a character as Momosuke, and the two started a conversation in this way. Ha ha ha, Momosuke, your eyesight is really good. This is the Lin An I mentioned to you. Of course, Momosuke knew that this must be Lin An. After all, Momosuke had noticed him since he came here, but his game had already started at that time, so he could only continue to start. But Momosuke did not expect that Lin An has been paying attention to him since he started the game, and also saw what happened to him just now. It is indeed because of what happened just now that Lin An is interested in him. What Momosuke didn't expect was that Lin An came to Momosuke with a smile at this time, and raised his hand. Hi, I'm Lin An, you are the Vice Admiral Fish. Momosuke was also very happy at this time, he didn't expect Lin An to greet him so directly. Just like that, Momosuke handed over his own hand, and after the two of them shook hands, they felt that they were already acquainted. Karina, who was watching from the sidelines, felt a little jealous in her heart. At first, he thought that his words could interrupt Lin An's interest in Momosuke. But he didn't expect that what he said just now did not change Lin An at all, even now Lin An had completely forgotten that he was by his side. But at this time he heard Momosuke looking at Lin An and saying. Want to play a game? We just need someone here. Lin An heard Momosuke's invitation at this time, he didn't immediately agree to Momosuke, but looked at Karina beside him. Asking for flowers. At this time, Lin An remembered what Karina said just now. What is the purpose of their coming here? Isn't it just for fun? This is really not what Karina said. In his heart, Karina was not interested in these at all. And he really felt that it was meaningless to come here, but just now he didn't know why, and he said that the main purpose of coming here was to play cards. Point 0. I believe that if I really want to start a game with Momosuke and the others, Karina will not object. What do you think? Shall we start a game with them? When Lin An asked Karina like this, Dao Fang suddenly noticed the woman beside Lin An. Unexpectedly, Lin An brought a woman here by himself. This woman looked a little extraordinary, which really made Momosuke a little jealous. And Karina was quite surprised when she heard what Lin An asked herself just now. He thought that Lin An had completely forgotten her existence, but he didn't expect that at this time, Lin An was actually asking you, Karina. Opinion 8. Chapter 191 Momosuke Karina introduces each other. Advertise here. Chapter 191 Momosuke Karina introduces each other. But no matter what, now that they came here, it must be for playing cards, which is also the main purpose of Lin An coming here. Although he is not interested in these things, he is here after all. But Karina still has a bet now. He has not forgotten the bet between him and Lin An just now, although the game is over now. 057 is just a change of person. If Lin An participated in the game invited by Momosuke, they would definitely continue. Okay, if you want to continue the game with them, I think the bet between the two of us must continue. Lin An heard Karina's words, he smiled and thought in his heart that this girl is still thinking about the bet, but what Karina said is that their bet must continue. Okay, since you have said so, it seems that I have to participate in this game. Momosuke was listening to the two of them, and what they said was really confused. I don't know what the two of them were talking about. Isn't it just the opening game? Why does it seem that the two have an agreement? They are saying what the stakes are. Momosuke is curious to know. Why don't you introduce the beauty next to you, Lin An, so I can tell you, what is the bet between you? You two are fine, aren't we going to start the game? Don't waste time here. If we were friends, would Karina mind? The current situation really makes Lin An feel a bit embarrassed. There are two beauties around him, and he is particularly interested in these two beauties. It is really difficult for him to introduce the two of them to each other. Karina, what choice do you have? What the hell is your plan? Tell me quickly, or I won't be able to start the game. And just when Lin An felt very embarrassed, Karina stepped forward and stretched out her hand. Karina continued with a slight smile. Momosuke didn't know what the two of them were talking about, and when Lin An heard what Karina said, she didn't know what Karina was up to. Momosuke Vice Admiral. Momosuke knows that he can't lose the big picture now, after all Karina looks so generous, he just stretched out his hand. Momosuke really thinks that Karina is so smart. Originally, he just thought that Karina was just an ordinary person next to Lin An, but he didn't expect it. My name is Momosuke. Lin An felt as if he had been forgotten by these two people. Ha ha ha, if you are Vice Admiral or not Vice Admiral, just call me Momosuke. Nice to meet you. When Lin An wanted to introduce his friend, he hesitated there, but this smart Karina extended her hand to shake her hand, and introduced herself directly. Isn't this just helping Lin An out of the siege? Lin An was really stunned when Momosuke asked himself this question. How would he introduce Karina? Could it be that he introduced Karina as his friend? Hi, my name is Karina. Karina was not in such a hurry to get started, he quickly told Lin An. 1.8 inches. Wait a minute, if you say you participate in this game, do I still have a choice? Chapter 192 The Man Even Lin An Praises. Advertise here. Chapter 192 The Man Even Lin An Praises. Of course Karina has to choose again, after all, the candidates are different now, the man with the girl has already left here. And now there is another candidate here, that is Lin An. Lin An is completely different in his heart, how could he not choose Lin An for such an important matter? Don't forget that you promised me that I could choose 3 people. Now I only choose 2 people, and there is one person who has no choice. Actually, it goes without saying that I know what you guys want to do, but it doesn't matter, even if you two are betting on our game, we don't care, and what I want is my own final outcome. It seems that he didn't want Momosuke to know that he picked him, but it didn't matter to Karina, he felt that he must have won this time. Lin An 24 laughed when he heard Karina's words. It seemed that this girl really wanted to trick him. What are you two talking about? What is the bet? What is the choice? What is the third person? What is the situation? Just before we start the game, let's make these things clear. When Karina heard Lin An's answer like this, she also secretly smiled in her heart, thinking about what this guy was up to, and he knew it best. That's what Karina meant, but he was worried that Lin An would cheat. If this game starts, he really thinks that Lin An will definitely win this game, but if he deliberately cheats, then he won't. There is a way. Why is Karina now you want to choose the third person again? You don't want to choose me as your third person. Lin An didn't intend to start over. Although he saw that the fat man had already won 2 rounds, it didn't mean anything. The one who won in the end was the real winner. And the person he chose was Momosuke, and he was even more unwilling to let Momosuke hear all this. Of course you can continue and forget it. You can't start over. Although you have reselected someone else, I don't think this situation can be changed. At this time, Momosuke was really embarrassed to ask more questions, but the fat man didn't say a word. Momosuke and the fat man really couldn't understand what Lin An and Karina were talking about. Lin An, do our previous 2 games still count? Are we going to start over? Listening to what they said, Dao 800 Rabbit was also thinking in his heart, could he bet on their game? It seems to be like this, otherwise, why would Karina ask Lin An such a thing? Momosuke seemed to understand something in an instant, and he secretly smiled inwardly. Lin An, you don't have your own little thoughts, if you deliberately lose this game, then I won't forgive you. Lin An really didn't want to answer the questions asked by the fat man. After all, this was a bet between him and Karina, and he didn't want to say it. Karina listened to Momosuke say these words, he smiled and thought about this Momosuke, but it is really not simple, no wonder Lin An is praising him. Fatty, don't ask any more questions. This is a bet between Karina and me. It's good for the two of us to know. As for you, it's better not to know. Chapter 193 The Final Winner. Advertise here. Chapter 193 The Final Winner. Momosuke, don't think too much about it, it's just the first time I saw you start here, so I want to make a bet, it doesn't mean anything else. Momosuke is very clear, after all, they didn't know each other before, even if they knew each other now, it wouldn't be regarded as friends. It doesn't mean anything to make this bet with them, and he doesn't mind these things at all. It's okay, I can understand your thoughts, these things are not important to me, what I need is the final outcome, and I also want to be the final winner. When Lin An heard what Momosuke said, she was also thinking in her heart, it seems that she did not choose the wrong person this time, and I believe that Momosuke will definitely win in the end. But the current situation has indeed changed. He also participated in this round. Don't you want to win? Of course he wants to win, but he has indeed seen how powerful this Momosuke is, but now he is really curious and wants to compete with this Momosuke. Momosuke, your opinion is really unique. Everyone wants to win to the end, including me, but you have to be clear yourself. The fat man won 2 rounds before, so he has a great hope of winning. In fact, Lin An didn't think that the fat man could win in the end, but he wanted to see Momosuke's opinion on this matter, so he said what he just said. But Momosuke is also a very smart person, he can understand what Lin An's words mean, and he admires Lin An's psychological method of trying to use such words to blame him. Fatty was able to win those 2 rounds, that's because of his good luck. In front of so many masters, I believe he may not have that kind of luck. He didn't meet Lin An before, but now it's different. Up. When Lin An listened to what Momosuke said, she really felt that the woman in front of her was so interesting that she actually said these words, and both of them were hiding their own thoughts in their hearts. But what he said was completely different. Lin An knew very well that Momosuke said these words on purpose, just to make Lin An clear. He is not blind to everything. As for what Lin An just said, he already knew what he said. Momosuke, do you really think this way? I don't think you necessarily think this way. We play together just to have fun and have no other ideas. I hope you don't mind my bet with Karina either. Quote. I might as well tell you directly that the two of us have already selected the winner for this time. Although the personnel has changed now, I still stick to my original choice. Fatty, it doesn't matter whether you were lucky to get the money just now or you really have this ability, but after all, you won 2 rounds. I think there is still hope of winning. You must work hard. Hearing Lin An encouraging himself like this, the obese man burst out laughing. Lin An, you have already said this, so what are we waiting for? Isn't it just for fun, and even if I win these 2 sentences, it really doesn't mean anything. The real thing is to have the last laugh winner. Chapter 194 Don't want to say it. Advertise here. Chapter 194 I don't want to say it. When Karina heard this, she was also a little anxious. Although he was not interested in these things at all, he had different ideas about this bet. I believe Karina, you also know me very well. I am really not good at this kind of card playing method. You should know this. I will never lie. You have to choose to trust me. The obese man was really anxious when he heard what they said. It seems that what everyone is talking about here is just a matter of choice. They don't know what the bet is and what the main bet is. And they don't want to know, since these 2 people have been studying for so long, there should be a result. He had already chosen the man with the pipe and the fat man, and he really didn't feel the need to choose the rest. Lin An, I told you just now that you can't lose this game on purpose. If you lose on purpose, I will never end this matter with you. Lin An, what did you mean by what you said to me just now? Did you tell me to choose carefully? Now I have no other choice but to choose you. I think you should work hard for me. When Lin An heard Karina say these words, she smiled and said to Karina. But what they said just now, Karina really felt a little uneasy. He didn't know who would win this game, and that Momosuke seemed to have a plan. How is it possible? I will definitely try my best, but I really don't know what the final outcome is, and let me tell you that today's game is a bit unfamiliar to me. This may not be a big deal to Lin An, it is just for fun, but it is very important to Karina. He hopes that he can win 740, so that he can make an important request to Lin An. I said, Lin An, Karina, you 2 have done almost the same research. If it's the same, let's get into the game as soon as possible. Everyone is waiting here. We can't just listen to the 2 of you discussing like this without any results. He hoped that he could really win this bet. After all, there was still an agreement between him and Lin An, that is, whoever could win this time had to agree to a request of the other party. He has already chosen Lin An, can he still change it? But he doesn't know how to change it. When Lin An said this, Karina, Siege, suddenly remembered, indeed, Lin An really rarely plays this style of play on weekdays, what should I do now? In fact, Momosuke already understood what the two of them were talking about, but he didn't want to say it. But I didn't expect that Lin An would participate in this game, so I had to choose Lin An. It seems that I don't need to change it anymore, so let's do it. Not to mention Lin An, although Karina has chosen him now, but his brother really can't guarantee that Lin An will win this game, after all Lin An has always chosen Chumian in his heart. Karina really can't guarantee whether Lin An will deliberately lose to this Momosuke. After all, he can't see clearly the situation. How can Lin An win? Now Karina is really don't know what to do. Chapter 195, Willingly. Advertise here. Chapter 195 Willingly. And now what Momosuke is interested in is of course Lin An. He has heard of Lin An's name a long time ago, and after hearing the introduction of the fat man today, he is even more interested. Later, he wants to have a good relationship with Lin and play a game. Let's see how capable Lin An is, but Lin An also said just now that this style of play is really not his forte, and he doesn't know what the end of this game will be. But no matter what, Momosuke knew very well in his heart that even if he lost, he would not be ashamed. After all, Lin An is also well known, and losing to him Momosuke is also considered willing. Look, Karina, they are both cheerful people, so there's no need for the two of us to hide anymore, and the bet will start right away. Maybe I can also have another idea, that is, Lin An is not good at playing these things at all, maybe he will lose, this maybe. It will feel better to say what you said to Lin An, and it will save the two of us from secretly discussing something behind, which is unnecessary now. The fat man is right, let's get into the game as soon as possible, no matter what the bet between you two is, it's your two business, it really has nothing to do with us, and we won't mind if you bet with us. Quote. Obese and ugly, Lin An was very pleased with what he said. He happily came to Lin An and patted Lin An on the shoulder with his hand. Lin An was relieved when he heard the fat man say this. He was really worried about these things at first. If they found out, he might blame them, but now he doesn't have to think about it so much. It's square. Okay, we really don't need to talk about these things anymore, you can get involved right away. Point 0. Ask for flowers. Lin An felt better when he heard Momosuke and the fat man both said the same thing. After all, he felt that this was not a fair thing, but if he said it now, he felt that he could do it openly. It's really not a matter of mine to comment on him, but we feel very honored. Lin An, you are also a straightforward person. Since you can tell us the truth, of course we are also happy in our hearts. Why do you mind? In fact, Momosuke has a different view on this matter. He thinks this is a decision between him and Lin An, and it has nothing to do with other people. But now that everyone knows it. Since both of you have said this, then we really have to continue to bet on you. I hope you don't mind, and I think it's more comfortable to say this. It's better to talk secretly behind my back. At this time, the man with the pipe in his mouth didn't know what they were talking about here, but he wanted to come and join in the fun. Momosuke thought it was a fluke and wanted to have a decisive battle with Lin An, but Momosuke felt that the other people who entered the game were just a foil. What are you talking about here? Do you want to continue the game? Karina felt that her heart suddenly became more open, and he himself didn't know the reason for this. Could it be that if this matter was kept in his heart, would there really be some misunderstanding? Chapter 196. Karina believes it. Chapter 196 Karina believes it's true. The fat man looked at the man with the pipe in his mouth, and said such words to them as he walked, and he hurriedly greeted them with a smile. If you want to start, of course you have to start. Don't we come here just to have a good time? How could it be possible to spoil everyone's interest because of such a person, and we can start right away. As they walked and talked, they came directly to the respective seats of the steel, 957 inches, and Lin An happened to take Karina, and the two of them sat in the same seats as the man and the girl who had just left. As for being fat, I thought what Lin An said before was joking with him. But it's okay now, it seems that he has played before, but he doesn't know the rules here, but the fat man doesn't have any rules, just hope everyone can have fun here. But when they were sitting here, Lin An actually said that he wanted to tell him about these games. Has Lin An really never played this game? But at this time, Lin An was also wondering whether everyone would believe what he said just now. This is unlikely, how could a dignified 5th Sea Emperor not even know this? But if it's Lin An who thinks he can win, he doesn't think so, and he was really lucky just now, he really won 2 games directly. And at 0.9, he doesn't want to give Karina any hope. He just hopes that Karina can choose his candidate normally. That's fine. Don't just choose him just because the two have a bet. Lin An thinks it will be unfair of. The rules are different in different places. I just want to hear. Do you have any other requirements now? If you have something in common, it will be much easier to handle, but I am just afraid of you guys. What are the different requirements? It turned out to be like this, so there is no need to worry about it anymore. There are no rules, and everyone just needs to do whatever they want. I've seen this thing before, but you guys have to tell me how to play it. But he didn't want to expose Lin An. After all, he didn't know what Lin An was thinking. Maybe he had some other purpose. Lin An, don't joke with me. How can you never play this kind of game? The reason why he said this was not because of what he wanted to do, but because he felt that he really might not be able to win this game. Obesity, although he said so, but in his heart he was thinking of Lin An, but how could he be a bit incapable of playing with them when he often went to such occasions? This is absolutely impossible. It seems that Lin An has reservations. It turned out that this is the case. The obese man was really shocked when he heard what Lin An said just now. He thought that Lin An really didn't know how to play this thing, so wouldn't he be bullying him? And Karina really didn't understand these things at all, not to mention that he really believed what Lin An said just now, and even felt that Lin An didn't understand it at all. In fact, Lin An can understand a little bit. What he played before is indeed similar to this one, but everyone has different rules in each place. He just wants to ask clearly so that he can continue to play with everyone. And he really won a lot in these two games. I don't know if he will be so lucky next time. Chapter 197 Surprised Eyes. Advertise here. Chapter 197 Surprised Eyes. But Karina trusted Lin An, and he felt that Lin An was as smart as Lin An. Even if he didn't believe him, he could win the bet. And he still has other candidates, even if Lin An can't win, and that fat man, not to mention the man with a pipe in his mouth, he thinks both of them have potential. Okay. You don't want to study these things anymore, okay. Let's start the game quickly. This place is simply too boring for me. I really don't want to stay here any longer. You guys end as soon as possible, so we can leave here as soon as possible. When Momosuke heard Karina say these words, he himself laughed, thinking that Karina was really interesting. He even said that this place is very boring. Does everyone have different ideas? He thinks this place is quite interesting. He has never felt that this place is boring, and he likes to come here to gamble a few times whether he is happy or unhappy. In this way, you can also make yourself feel better. Even when you are in a good mood, you can smoothly perform your own skills here. Karina, why do you have such an idea? Don't you really know nothing about these games? I think these things are really interesting to me, and I don't think it is boring thing. Karina can clearly understand that everyone's ideas are different. It seems that Dao really likes this place. And Karina looked at Momosuke. As long as she came here, she seemed to be able to show her true self. And when he was dealing with that bad guy just now, Karina also saw clearly that Momosuke never took that bad guy seriously. And he kicked him out directly. This is the time when he really let go of his hatred. At that time, he really felt that Momosuke was the pride of their women. But when it comes to playing cards, Karina is really not good at this kind of thing, and he is even unwilling to participate in this kind of occasion, if Lin An insisted on bringing him here today. He will never come. Hee, maybe it's because everyone has different hobbies. You guys like to play here, but I don't like it so much. If Lin An hadn't brought me here today, I might never have thought of this situation. When Momosuke heard what Karina said, he was really surprised. He also looked at it carefully. Is it the first time for a woman like Karina to come to this situation? It shouldn't be possible. He looked at Karina's calm look, and 710 seemed to be a veteran of their kind of scene. Why Karina, is this your first time here? I really can't imagine. When Karina heard that Momosuke was about to ask herself, he quickly explained to Momosuke. No, it's not the first time I've come here. I used to come here occasionally, but it's indeed the first time I've come here with Lin An. It's just my personal opinion. I don't like this kind of scene very much. It's because of Lin An that I came with him today. Momosuke understood now. No wonder he looked at Karina's battle-tested look just now, not the surprised look he seemed to be here for the first time. Chapter 198. A familiar name. Advertise here. Chapter 198. A name that is no familiar. It turned out to be like this. I thought it was really your first time here. Lin An is listening to the two women chatting. How can this work? They are about to start the game now, so you can't listen to the two of them chatting here. Okay, you two should stop chatting. We are all waiting to start. The obese man was listening. Lin An had already said this, so he hurried on. Yes, let's start quickly. I can't wait. At this time, the mustache was really not calm. He looked at Lin An and Karina next to Lin An. Although it was a little strange, Lin An's name was not unfamiliar to him. This Lin An is the famous emperor of the sea. Is he really going to be allowed in this game? Wouldn't he be a loser? And just now he also saw that his luck is not bad at all. His cards have been particularly bad in the past 2 rounds. If he continues to play like this, will he still be like this? Even at this time, Mustache wanted to shrink back a little. He didn't know if he could continue playing with them. At this time, the man with the pipe in his mouth seemed to hesitate a bit when he looked at the mustache. He knew what kind of thoughts this guy must have in his heart. Could it be that he didn't want to play? The pipe-smoking man didn't want the mustache to back down at this moment. He wanted to encourage him, and he had to continue playing with them. And he knew very well in his heart that if this mustache continued, it seemed that he might not lose today. And this mustache is notoriously irritable. If he loses a few times in a row, I believe this guy will definitely be irritable. After all, in the previous 2 rounds, he also saw the mustache's temper. What are you thinking, mustache? You might be a little scared, right? We're about to start the game. If you back off at this time, you'll really make us laugh. This mustache is indeed a very impulsive person. He was very unconvinced when he heard what the man with the pipe said to him. What are you talking about? How can I be afraid? How can I shrink back at such a critical moment? Can you see that I am the kind of person who shrinks when I see things? When the man with the pipe in his mouth heard what the mustache said, he was relieved. This guy was really fooled, and not only would he not flinch. And the man with the pipe in his mouth believed that he would increase his chips. If so, he might have a chance to win more. But the other people present didn't see what the man with the pipe was thinking, and no one knew what his intentions were. They just said a few words and didn't let Kuja de Qianzhao care. At this time, the cards had been dealt out, and everyone was concentrating on looking at their own cards, and Momosegi's face was a little unhappy at this time. Because Momosegi saw his own cards, it was a bit rotten. He didn't think about why he was still such a rotten card at the beginning of this round. But he was able to control his emotions, unlike that mustache, who saw that his cards were too bad in the first 2 rounds, so he dropped his cards directly, and didn't want to continue playing. Chapter 199 You must not be ashamed here. Chapter 199 You must not be ashamed here. And this is Lin An in front of him, and that calm Karina, he doesn't want to make a fool of himself at this time, not to mention it's only the first game, it doesn't mean anything. When Lin An looked at his hand of cards, he really felt that he should calm down. He also glanced at it by the way, and Momosegi seemed to be able to sense what cards Momosegi had. Although this card is not good, he also feels that he may not be able to lose. How are you, fatty? Is your card not very good? If not, you should withdraw this hand immediately, and don't stand there. Momosegi doesn't believe that he will lose, and even though Momosegi feels that Lin An has already entered the game, he still has great confidence in himself. Now not only Lin An observes the fat man but also Momosegi, he knows that today's fat is very lucky. If Momosegi had a good hand, there would definitely be a smile on his face, but at this moment he could tell that Momosegi was pretending to be calm, as if he didn't care about anything. This game really made Momosegi feel more and more interesting. He was just a little interested before, but now that Lin An has entered the game, he seems to feel that this game is not just as simple as playing cards. They were supposed to be a few people playing well. At that time, Lin An was only watching the fun but couldn't get into the game at all, but now, right now, he lacked one person here and invited Lin An to join the game. But Momosegi is also thinking, even the fat man said that Lin An is a well-known figure here, has he not worried about letting Lin An enter the game? At this time, inviting Lin An to this game really put some pressure on him, but after he saw his own cards at this time, the pressure seemed to be even greater. If he hadn't invited Lin An to join the game, he probably wouldn't have done this. Now thinking about these fat men, he feels a little regretful. Lin An knew that he was just faking it, but it didn't matter, they just started the first game, and he believed that Momosegi would definitely win today's whole game. It's all the fault of the man who left just now. If it wasn't because of him deliberately provoking trouble, how could this situation happen now? Momosegi, don't say that. It's not a foregone conclusion yet. This is just the beginning, and nothing can be seen. You have to be patient. At this time, the fat man's expression was indeed a bit different from his previous expression. When he won 2 rounds before, he seemed to be a little proud. If he listened to Momosegi telling his truth, he seemed to feel that he was losing face. How could Momosegi say that about himself? And just now I also saw that my card was really dead, so I observed the fat man and looked at the guy's expression, it seemed that this card must be dead. And this Lin An's technique really caught Momosegi's eyes. It's definitely not that he doesn't understand the game, it's just that what he said just now is covering up something. Even Sadie, the obese man, was still thinking in his heart, if he had known this, he would not have invited Lin An to join the game. When the few of them played relatively well before, his luck was very good. Chapter 200 Very Calm Momosegi. Chapter 200 Very Calm Momosegi. Don't wait here, everyone. Now all the cards are in your own hands. Why don't we just show the cards in our hands and see who wins and who loses in this round? When Momosegi finished speaking, she was very generous, and directly opened the cards in her hand on the table. Lin An looked at Momosegi being so generous, he even let all the cards in his hands be opened up first. As a man, he is still a famous person here. How could it be possible to be overwhelmed by the aura of a woman? Lin An immediately placed his own card on the table at this moment. Yeah, what Momosegi said is right, since everyone has already got the cards in their hands, why don't you let them hang it out and see who has better luck? In fact, at the moment when Lin An showed his cards, he also glanced at Momosegi's cards. When he saw that Momosegi's cards were not good, he really changed his view of Momosegi. This guy was so calm, it really made him admire. Karina watched everyone put the cards here one by one. At this time, Karina stood up directly. After all, he couldn't understand these things. He really wanted to know who won this round. How about Lin An? Who is this game? Why can't I see it at all? You guys are talking about it. This game is indeed a bit different from the previous game, even if they didn't line up well before, they still had to show it. But this time they completely suppress their emotions, even the mustache is the same. This card is very good, but also very bad. This guy actually restrained his temper. He didn't get angry, he didn't even throw his cards, and he just hung the cards in his hand for everyone to see. This practice of the mustache really surprised the man with the pipe in his mouth. Originally, he thought that the reason why the mustache didn't get angry was because his cards were better, but he didn't expect that this guy's cards turned out to be rotten to the bottom. But he didn't say a word, it really didn't occur to the man with the pipe in his mouth. Now that everyone has revealed their cards, Lin An also clearly saw that the man with the pipe in his hand won the round. This guy is really hiding his secrets. Asking for flowers. In his expression, what does Lin An look like? This guy has restrained himself very well. It seems that this is a seasoned veteran. Before, they were all deceived by the appearance of this man with a pipe hanging, but Lin An felt that this guy really couldn't ignore him. 0. Karina, didn't you see who won this game, did you? Karina is already very anxious now, he just wants to know the result, and he doesn't want to see the process of this game. Originally, he just wanted to know who won this game, but he heard that Lin An was deliberately whetting his appetite. What's the situation? Tell me who won. Tell me, your game really confuses me. When the puppy heard what Karina said, he laughed. Karina, don't worry about this round, the big brother on the opposite side won this round. Although the elder brother Lin An was referring to was the man with a pipe in his mouth for a long time. Chapter 201 The Fat Man Sees Everything. Advertise here. Chapter 201 The Fat Man Sees Everything. And among the candidates I chose was this man with a pipe, but Karina didn't seem to be happy at all. He knows that he has chosen too many people, and he is afraid that if this continues, none of his few people will win today's winner. At this time, Karina heard what the man with the pipe said to her, and she really felt that she shouldn't have shown such an expression just now. When the man hanging the pipe heard what Karina said, he wanted to get closer to Karina even more, and he felt that Karina seemed to bring him good luck. After all, he saw that Karina and Momosuke were quite different. Momosuke made them feel like a female man, even that kind of pungent woman. Although the man with the pipe in his mouth didn't know who Karina was, he seemed to be interested in Karina the moment he saw Karina. And this Karina is completely different, even though he came with Lin An, and the man with the pipe in his mouth also knows what kind of character Lin An is, the woman who can come with him should not be a simple person. He hurriedly smiled at the man with a pipe in his mouth. Listening to what Lin An and Karina said, the man with the pipe in his mouth really didn't know what happened in 043, but what was the woman next to Lin An going to do? And seeing Karina's current expression, he also wanted to deliberately approach Karina, so that he could have a few more words with him. But just now he could hear that Karina didn't seem to understand anything about their game, but he seemed to care about who won and who lost. I didn't mean that, it's just that I don't know much about these things. I didn't understand them just now, so I feel a little embarrassed. The more important point is that these two people appeared here at the same time. I believe that there is no need for him to say anything about the relationship between the two of them. Maybe all of these are two people acting. Continue to follow them in 5.9. And when he saw that Karina knew that he had won this round, he didn't seem very happy, so he smiled and said to Karina. It turned out to be like this. Since you don't know much about this game now, why don't you just sit next to me and let me teach you? How can you not understand everything here? This is a big lie, but the fat man can't expose him now. After all, he doesn't know what Karina wants to do. The pipe-smoking man didn't even know about the bet between Lin An and Karina, and he didn't even know that he was the one chosen by Karina. And he has always known in his heart that this Lin An is not a simple character. I believe he has already seen all this, and there is no need for him to point out these things at all. Listening to Karina's obesity when she finished speaking these words, could it be that this Karina doesn't know what's going on? Could it be that he is deliberately covering up something? He is familiar with this Karina, after all this card Lina is from the Whitebeard Pirates. I don't know if I won this round, which made the beauty a little unhappy. Although I don't know what you are doing, I can see that my winning or losing can't bring you any happiness. P.S. Begging for an automatic subscription and a tip, as long as there is one, the author will continue to explode with 30,000 words tomorrow. Chapter 202. The pipe-smoking man didn't dare to talk anymore. Advertise here. Chapter 202 The pipe-smoking man dare not speak anymore. At this time, Lin An meowed at the man with a pipe hanging. This guy is really not worrying. If it wasn't because of his words before, how could Momosuke have fought with the injured man, and now he is here to provoke Karina, which really makes Lin An feel worried for him. Maybe it will be because of something later thing. This guy is pretty easy to beat. At this time, when Karina heard the man with the 24 pipe say these words, he did not answer the man with the pipe, but glanced at Lin An. When he saw Lin An's expression, he also understood what he should do here, and he even knew that he still had a job. Just listening to the provocative words of this man with a pipe, how could he do what he said? But he didn't want to disturb this kind of scene, I just want to deal with it. Brother, didn't you see that I came here with Lin An? If you want to invite me, don't you have to respect Lin An's opinion? When the man with a pipe in his mouth heard Karina mentioning Lin An, he was dumbfounded all of a sudden. No wonder the man looked familiar, as if he had seen him somewhere. It turned out to be such a famous and important person, how could he come here? This is the Emperor of the Sea. I didn't expect that the Emperor of the Sea would participate in this kind of game, which really surprised him. At this time, Lin An really lost in this game. When he showed the black card, it made this player even more. The man with the pipe in his mouth was dumbfounded. It turns out that you are the Emperor of the Sea. I really don't know Taishan. I didn't expect such a big person to appear here today. The man with a pipe in his mouth looked at Momosuke and the T-Dolphin next to him after he finished speaking. These two women are Marine Vice Admiral, how dare Lin An dangle in front of their eyes like this? Go, are you really not paying attention to these Marines? It seems that the relationship here is really too wonderful. What Karina said just now is very correct. I can't talk nonsense here. If I say anything more, it is very likely that he will be the next one to be injured. But no matter how much he tries to cover up now, what he said just now is useless. After all, Lin An has started to notice him now. Why, big brother, do you still need to choose someone to play cards? Is it because someone like me is not worthy to sit with you at all? The man with the pipe in his mouth was really terrified when he heard Lin An say this. He knew that he must have said the wrong thing just now, and Lin An said such a thing at this time. It just showed that he cared very much about what he said just now. I really didn't mean that, Lin An, don't mind, it's just that I didn't expect someone like you to meet me, it really makes me feel honored. Lin An looked at the words said by the man with a pipe in his mouth, and knew what he just said, and said them inadvertently. And all he wanted to do was to tease Karina, and at this time Karina was also very smart, so she pushed this matter directly on Lin An's head. Chapter 203. A black card surprises the audience. Advertise here. Chapter 203. A black card surprises the audience. But Lin An doesn't care about these things anymore. He wants to see what will happen to these people now, whether it's Karina or Momosuke. Lin An has already seen everything in his eyes. Since this big brother has no other intentions, can we continue? The man with the pipe in his mouth was really terrified by Lin An's words just now, and thought that he had offended Lin An because of this incident, but he didn't expect that Lin An just scolded him here. Now that Lin An has stepped down for himself, what else can he think about? As for Karina next to Lin An, he doesn't even dare to think about it now. Listening to these words from the side, Momosuke really couldn't help but want to laugh, but he had to show some face to the men on the opposite side. Momosuke could only hold back his laughter. At this time, the obese man stood up and said to Lin An with a smile to save everyone from embarrassment. Since Lin An wants to continue the start now, let's continue quickly. Pipe. Quote. Following what the obese man said just now, he started to play cards again. When Lin An was looking at his own cards, he was also looking at Momosuke. He knew that it was time for Momosuke to make a move. It seems that Momosuke will definitely win this round, even if he is unlucky, but I believe he won this round by himself. However, after Lin An looked at his own cards, he was indeed a little stupid. He seemed to be looking at his own cards, and he didn't understand what was going on with his own cards. After all, he really didn't understand these things. The reason why he can do this is because of the black card Gilder gave him. If it wasn't for this black card to support him, Lin An wouldn't be in this kind of game. But Karina didn't know all of this. He thought that since Gilder could give Lin An such a card, Lin An must also be capable, but he never thought that Lin An would be dissatisfied with these things. Too familiar. And he just pretended that he didn't understand anything. How could he know that Lin An had already seen all this? At this time, Momosuke saw the black card that Lin An pulled out, and he was a little surprised that he rarely saw this card here. And it is the kind of famous person who will show this black card, and now Lin An actually took out this black card in his hand. It seems that Lin An is really not easy. He can come and go here freely. Being able to hold such a black card in his hand really made Momosuke a little curious. Although he knew that this Lin An was someone they could never capture, he never thought that Lin An could come in and out freely here. This guy is really brave enough. When Momosuke Zhao Hao thought of this, he also looked at the T-Dolphin beside him, and the two of them just looked at each other. At this time, the T-Dolphins knew very well what Momosuke was thinking. It was nothing more than they were a little surprised when they saw the black card in Lin An's hand. But neither of them said anything. Now Momosuke is not interested in this game, but is very interested in Lin An. The appearance of this guy is really getting more and more interesting. Chapter 204. Don't want to put down the mustache easily. Advertise here. Chapter 204. Although he knew that it was indeed impossible to catch Lin An with the abilities of him and the T-Dolphin, but in today's situation, he seemed to feel that he could watch the excitement. The news that Lin An was able to come to the Golden City, is it really that good to be closed? Although he knew that he only just found out that Lin An would appear here. But without an airtight wall, wouldn't Garp or Sengoku know about this? Momosuke even felt that the news would definitely reach their ears, and believed that if Lin An dared to stay here for too long, Garp and Sengoku would definitely appear here. Now Momosuke really has no intention of continuing to play, he doesn't know what will happen next. But even he himself didn't know why he suddenly felt that he didn't want anything to happen to Lin An here, but hoped that he could leave here as soon as possible, so as to avoid any problems. But Momosuke looked at Lin An as if he didn't care about these things at all. If he really cared about these things, he shouldn't just appear here like this. Momosuke now feels that it is really redundant to think about these things, but no matter what, he doesn't want Lin An to have an accident here. Now that all the cards have been dealt, that mustache seemed a little less calm. He was indeed able to control his emotions in the previous round, but at this moment he heard that the person in front of him turned out to be Lin An. He was also very shocked. He didn't expect that this game could attract people. This Lin An is sitting here. He doesn't know how powerful Lin An is, but this first game, Lin An didn't win. So what's next? He's getting a little restless and doesn't even want to go on. But at this time, he saw that his cards seemed to be in a mess. Today is really not a day for playing cards. This guy threw his cards aside with a snap, check, and stood up straight away. Laozi can't continue playing this card today, so I won't be here to accompany him. Seeing the current appearance of this mustache really made Momosuke and the others feel a little speechless. This guy who played well originally has no quality. When playing the previous two games, Mustache acted a little too aggressively, but Momosuke didn't care about these things at that time. After all, the injured man was more serious than this mustache. But this round of cards has already been dealt, and this guy threw the cards and wanted to leave. How can such a simple thing happen? Momosuke thinks that he can't just let this mustache go so easily. Seeing him standing up, Momosuke also stood up immediately, and shouted loudly at the mustache. What do you want to do? If you want to leave, you have to finish this game. This mustache's behavior really made everyone feel a little baffled. This guy is so impatient. He couldn't control his emotions just after the second round. It seems that he is not suitable for playing this kind of thing at all. Karina was wondering who would win this game. If this mustache makes a fuss now, wouldn't the game end again? Seeing Momosuke getting angry, he went directly to the mustache and stopped him. Chapter 205 Don't Make Things Big. Advertise here. Chapter 205 Don't Make Things Big. Yeah, Momosuke is right, how can you just leave like this? If you want to leave, you must at least finish this game. Mustache was already very angry when he saw his cards. Although he heard what Momosuke said to him just now, he felt that no one should be able to stop him. But he never thought that it was this Karina who blocked him, which really surprised him. Looking at Karina's appearance, he felt a little familiar. And at this time, he didn't care where the person in front of him had seen him, he just wanted to leave here as soon as possible. What kind of thing are you? How dare you stop me here? When Lin An heard this, he really felt a little uncomfortable. After all, Karina came here with him, and he will protect Karina no matter what. At this time, Lin An heard what Mustache said to Karina, and he rushed to the front in 3 or 2 steps. There was no chance for that mustache to react at all, and he punched that mustache directly. This mustache was really stunned after being beaten up by Lin An like this. He didn't know what happened at all, he just said a word to Karina, but he didn't expect it to be because of his own words. He was beaten, and at this time he didn't know who beat him. When Momosuke and the others saw Lin An's move, they seemed to be shocked by Lin An as well. It's true that everyone didn't react, and Lin An's punch really hit the mustache hard enough. Seeing this situation, the obese man hurried forward to stop it. Lin An really didn't know what day it was today. He could have had a good time, but he didn't expect to fight in the same round 2 battles. Lin An, don't be angry, don't get angry with this kind of person. Fortunately, the fat man came in time, otherwise Lin An's punch would have hit him. I believe that hitting the mustache would be enough for him. But the mustache really escaped the punch. Although Lin An was still a little angry, he also understood that he shouldn't make trouble here. Asking for flowers. The mustache's attitude towards Karina just now really made Lin An feel that it was too much, otherwise Lin An would never have come for this mustache. What's more, it's just a matter of a hand of cards. Even if the mustache doesn't want to take the money, it doesn't matter, Lin An doesn't care at all. The main problem is the attitude of the mustache. If he can correct his attitude, Lin An will not make a move. 0. But what Lin An didn't expect was that this fat man was able to stop all this at this time. What was this guy thinking? Does this mustache have anything to do with him? Lin An really didn't see any relationship between them, but it was probably because this game was fat after all, and the man invited maybe because he didn't want any problems to arise, and let himself bear it. Fatty, what are you doing? Do you want to stop this matter? This little beard, I don't think you can afford what he has done. If you don't want to meddle in other people's business, just leave immediately. In fact, Momosuke didn't want to make a big deal about this matter. Chapter 206 Momosuke's words surprised Lin An. Advertise here. Chapter 206 Momosuke's words surprised Lin An. After all, he knew that Lin An's identity was special, and if too many people knew that he was here, it would indeed be bad for him. I believe that Garp and the others must have their eyeliner here. If this matter breaks out, Garp and Sengoku will come here soon. I believe they already love Lin An and can't wait to catch him. If there is an opportunity like 267. They will definitely come here as soon as possible. Momosuke wants to end these things quickly before things get serious. He was really impulsive just now. If he knew this, he wouldn't stop him. Isn't it just a matter of a hand of cards if the mustache leaves? It doesn't matter whether he has the mustache or not, and he feels that playing with such unqualified people is really disappointing him. Thinking of these, Momosuke also came to Lin An directly, and he said to Lin An, although I know that he shouldn't be allowed to leave just like that, but in this situation, I have something to tell you alone. Once I say it, I hope you can let him go. Let's not pursue this matter anymore. Lin An was really surprised when she heard what Momosuke said. After all, it was Momosuke at the beginning, and she didn't want this mustache to leave like this. And Karina was just complaining. After all, he and Karina also had a bet, but they didn't expect Momosuke to say such words at this critical moment. And he also said that he had something to say to him alone. What does this mean? The two of them are not familiar with each other at all, so Eucalyptus felt a little surprised to say something to him alone at this time. But now that Momosuke has said this, Lin An can only look very helpless. Fortunately, the fat man stopped him just now. Otherwise, his punch would be enough to choke the mustache, but Lin An is really unwilling to let the mustache go like this, but there is no other way now. And he himself is also not familiar with everything here, and he is not clear about the relationship between everyone. Although he is particularly interested in Momosuke, it is only for him personally. As for him and this Lin An still doesn't know what's going on between the mustaches. I really don't know what the relationship between each of you here is. Maybe you are all acquaintances. I think I am the only one here who is a stranger. But through today's incident, I really want to know if I have caused you some trouble here. Momosuke also did not expect Lin An to say this. What he is thinking about now is entirely because of Lin An. Lin An seems to have no idea what is going to happen to him. Here, Momosuke really feels that he has something to say and can't say it now. Obviously he is also Marine's vice admiral, but now he feels that it is difficult for him to do 4.8 because of Lin An's matter. He doesn't know what he is thinking. In fact, it's not just Momosuke who can't figure it out, even the T-Dolphin is wondering what's going on with Momosuke today. Why does he want to prevent this matter from continuing to make a big splash? In the T-Dolphin's mind, he didn't care about these things at all. He thought that Momosuke felt the same way as him, but he didn't expect that Momosuke didn't seem to want to make this matter a big deal. Chapter 207 The T-Dolphin feels meddling. Advertise here. Chapter 207 The T-Dolphin feels meddling. Thinking of these things, the T-Dolphin felt a little uneasy, so he went directly to Momosuke's side and whispered in Momosuke's ear. Momosuke, what's the matter with you? We don't need to meddle in this business, do we? When Momosuke heard the T-Dolphin say this about himself, he could also feel that what he did was really not what she should do as a Marine Vice Admiral. But he didn't know why he suddenly had this consciousness, wanting to protect that Lin An. When Momosuke thought of this, he turned around and looked at Shifu 24. T-Dolphin, don't talk about these things yet, I will explain to you slowly. It seems that I really underestimated your relationship here. Now that Momosuke has spoken, you should leave as soon as possible. Lin An also seemed very helpless when he heard this. Although he didn't understand why Momosuke 400 did this, he could understand. Lin An, you are right. The relationship between each of us here is different. I believe you are new here. You don't understand the things here, so let's let go of the mustache first. If the mustache tried to attack him, he might not even be able to dodge in time. Fortunately, Lin An appeared in time to help him stop these things. Otherwise, he might be injured today because of his impulsiveness. When Lin An finished speaking, he looked at the mustache next to him and smiled and said to the mustache. Although these things are indeed related to his own interests, it is not enough for him to take such a big risk to directly stop this mustache. Okay, Momosuke, now that you've said that, I don't think I need to hang on to this. As for other things, he really shouldn't care so much. He was really impulsive just now, and he shouldn't rush forward directly. After all, I also did these things for this Momosuke. Now that Momosuke has already said that he will let go of this mustache, why am I still entangled in this matter? Hey, I feel like I've been meddling in my own business today. Or maybe my thoughts just now were an illusion. 17. Karina was surprised to see all this. If it wasn't for Momosuke's yell, he wouldn't have stopped the mustache. It seems that these people in front of him can't understand everything he has done, but at this time he really can't think about it so much, even if they don't understand, so what? What I want to protect is the Sea Emperor in front of me. As for other things, I can only talk about it slowly. Momosuke knows that he can't control his inner thoughts now, he just wants to calm down this matter quickly. Even if this situation can't continue, he is willing to do so. But now he knows that it is useless for him to think so much, as long as he can complete the work that Xiaohei entrusted to him. At this time, Lin An couldn't understand Momosuke's current psychological thoughts at all. He didn't know why Momosuke said that, and he even felt that he had misjudged the person today. Obviously Lin An helped Momosuke with the mustache matter, but he didn't expect such a result in exchange. Momosuke heard Karina say the same thing, and he really felt a little embarrassed about it. Chapter 208 Lin An is also curious. Advertise here. Chapter 208 Lin An is also curious. When Mustache heard what Lin An and Momosuke said, he was overjoyed, and was about to take this opportunity to run away, because he was so scared just now. But I clearly heard what Momosuke said just now. Why? Now, Lin An thinks that Dao Fang is getting more and more interesting. In front of him, he said to himself that he wanted to talk to him alone. One is the Marine Vice Admiral, and the other is the Emperor of the Sea. These two people are supposed to be opposites, but the occasion when they meet today is a little different. Mustache is indeed a little confused by the words of this Momosuke. He doesn't know why Momosuke suddenly wants to let him go, although he is not clear about these things. I just heard that it was going to be released, and this guy ran away without looking back, without even saying thank you to Momosuke. But what Lin An is most interested in now is what Momosuke said just now. He has something to talk to Lin An alone, which makes Lin An feel a little strange. But this is the best chance for him to escape from the scene. Now he is not willing to have any entanglement with these people, otherwise he will not only be injured. He was not familiar with Momosuke, and it was the first time he had met Momosuke. He was able to say to himself at this critical moment that he wanted to talk to him alone. What is there to talk about between the two of them? Because then Lin An was really going to attack him, but he didn't expect that Momosuke saved his life, and now he really had a chance to escape. What was he still thinking? Let's take this opportunity and sneak away. And in terms of money, he still has to pay for the game he just mentioned. Thinking of these mustaches, he ran away without looking back. Well, since you said you want to let this guy go, let him go. I don't care if he stays or not. Backquote. Karina watched the mustache slip away like this, and he stood there stupidly looking at Lin An, as if he wanted to know what Lin An was thinking. Did he just obey Momosuke like this? Okay, but he also heard what Momosuke said to Lin An just now, and it seems that now Karina is also interested in what Momosuke said. But he clearly heard Momosuke said that he wanted to have a private talk with Lin An, and it seemed that even if he wanted to understand these things, he couldn't do it. This is the only way to sit on the same board and play cards, but if it is said that they have any friendship in private, it should be impossible at this time. Lin An and the others looked at the mustache and ran away without a trace, but they still thought this guy was quite interesting. It seems that I really underestimated the relationship between them. Momosuke is right. There seems to be something between him and this mustache. Otherwise, how could he let him go so easily? Woolen cloth. But now that Momosuke has said this, Lin An wants to save some face for Momosuke. Although there is no relationship between them, he is really interested in Momosuke and wants to deepen his relationship with this person. Understanding. Momosuke calmed down seeing that the mustache had left. At this time, Momosuke knew that their game could not continue. Chapter 209 T Dolphin persuading Momosuke. Advertise here. Chapter 209 T Dolphin persuading Momosuke. And right now he really wants to have a chat with Lin An alone, although Momosuke knows that this is really not good, but he can't control himself to do these things. I don't know if you have heard what I said just now. If you have, please avoid it for a while. I want to have something to say with Lin An. The T Dolphin really thinks that Momosuke is crazy. How can he talk to this Lin An here alone? What is going on here? What he did just now has already surprised the T Dolphin. He thought he could stop Momosuke, but this happened so suddenly that the T Dolphin couldn't say anything, and he didn't know how to persuade him Momosuke. But there are some things he has to say. After all, the two of them came here together. We can't let Momosuke have something happen here. Momosuke, what are you doing here? We are not very familiar with this Lin An. What do you have to talk to him alone? Momosuke is very clear about what he is doing, and he also knows that the reason why the T Dolphin said this is because he is worried about these things, and he really can't take care of it. I'll explain things about T Dolphins to you later. Can you go out with everyone first? In fact, it's not just the T Dolphin who thinks this is a bit inappropriate. CEBJ, even the obese man thinks that Momosuke is really unusual today. What's wrong with this guy? He is a clear-headed person on weekdays. What he did today is indeed beyond the comprehension of the fat man. Obesity. He now feels that he has caused some trouble. If he had known about this, he would not have mentioned Lin An to Momosuke. If Momosuke didn't know that Lin An came here, he might not be in the way he is now. Things happen. Yeah, Momosuke, what's the matter with you today? The T Dolphin is right. You are not familiar with each other, and this is the first time you meet. How can you have any chance to talk alone? I think you are. It's not that I'm a little dizzy. There are some things that must be thought through before doing it. Momosuke is very aware of what he is doing now, and these people in front of him are preventing him from talking with Lin An alone, and he also understands that everyone is considering his current identity. But what he wants to say right now is really inconvenient to say in front of everyone, and he only needs to give him a few minutes to clarify with Lin An. As for the other things, Momosuke really can't take care of them now. Up. What's the matter with you today? Why don't you even listen to me? I just want you to go out for a few minutes, isn't that okay? Now that the T Dolphin and the fat man are listening to what Momosuke said, they have nothing to do. If they continue to persuade them, they will probably anger Momosuke. They also know the nature of jumping rabbits. It seems that there is really no way to persuade Momosuke anymore. The fat man just shook his head, but he also left here, and the same thing happened to the T-Dolphin. Seeing that he had no other way to persuade Momosuke, he could only leave. At this time, Karina really didn't know what happened. She seemed to feel that Momosuke and Lin An were very familiar people. Yes, it didn't feel like they were meeting for the first time.